Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in the previous video I have given you some idea of the connection between our realm of understanding at the SEMP and J level, how our roh, our qalb, akal and our jasad is being coming through to give us our sense of our physical self in terms of our nafs, and how the relationship between al-akal al-kulli and al-akal al-juzi, and how we manifest our thoughts, habits and behavior. So what the holistic approach, we have to go more detail into this because in Islam we have this idea of Taffakur, and this is one of the greatest verses in the Al-Quranul Kareem, but somehow the Muslims today, we have not been doing that. Whenever we talk about Taffakur, you're talking being a Sufi. So no, it is being a Muslim. I'm not here to promote Sufism. I'm here to promote the truth about Islam. So the truth about Islam has many detail, the exoteric, the external and the internal, esoteric. But those aspects are something that you can validate from the perspective of understanding science and technology. Okay, I'm trying to bring this idea of positive Islamic psychology, integrating the great scholarship of the great scholars of Islam, and starting with the revelation of Al-Quranul Kareem. Allah reveals unto us many verses for us to reflect and think. That means we have verses on Tafakkur, we have Tadakkur, Murakabah, Mushahadah and so on. So there are terms and values in which in modern Islamic terminology is based on fiqh only, so we don't go into the aspect of reflection about our life, about the purpose and meaning of our existence, and that will be the key towards Iman actually. That's why I want to relate a story in which this is in relation to the revelation of this ayah in Surah Baqarah, where one day Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is all in the hadith, you can find this story, was with Sayyidina Aisha, Ummul Mu'minin. She was there and Rasulullah asked permission to leave her and start his prayer. And when he go into his prayer, he started crying. And he cried and as Sayyidina Aisha narrate, tears was flowing from his eyes to wet his old clothes, and in his sujud he was dripping. And he was in that state until Subuh. And at that point, Sayyidina Bilal came and saw the Prophet in the state of crying. And he says, "Oh Prophet, why are you crying like that? You know, because there's time for Subuh." So then Rasulullah tells him about the revelation that he received at that moment. And what was that ayah? That is in Surah Baqarah. A'udzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rahim. Inna fi khalqis samawati wal ard wa ihtilafil layli wan nahar la ayatin li ulil albab alladhina yazkuruna Allaha qiyaman wa qu'udan wa ala junubihim wa yatafakkaruna fi khalqis samawati wal ard rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batila subhanaka faqina azaban nar. Sadaqallahul azim. Such is the beauty of this verse, telling us to reflect, tafakkur. Alright, so Allah tells us in the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the alteration of the day and night, the ayatin li ulil albab, for people who use their intellect, yatafakkaruna fi khalqis samawati wal ard, you reflect over these heavens and the earth, and you are doing it. Yatafakkaruna fil khalqis samawati wal ard rabbana ma khalaqta hadha batila. This Allah has given this not because of anything, not without purpose, but without purpose. So you are doing this, standing, sitting, lying on your side, thinking, reflecting about the grandeur that Allah has given us. What is the grandeur? The grandeur of the heavens and the earth, the grandeur of the day and night, the grandeur of DNA, RNA, the grandeur of the cosmos, the grandeur of everything that we can understand within ourselves. So within, for example, if you're talking about psychology, then we must understand the grandeur of how this relate to us, because we can have many relationship in terms of tafakkur. Alright, this tafakkur can be, as I mentioned earlier, we can think about the nature of ourselves. This will go into muraqabah. We do the internal reflection, but I'll give you some greater understanding of this nature and terminology within the context of Islamic psychology and Islamic spirituality, because we are trying to bring back the idea of Islamic spirituality to every single Muslim, not the esoteric form in which, alhamdulillah, our ancient scholars has brought them, but in the sense that you must join a Sufi order or a tariqah or what to understand all that. Every single Muslim born into this world must be ulil albab. And ulil albab, what is ulil albab? Al-ulil albab, those who are thinking, reflecting, getting knowledge, getting more knowledge, until they become assured of the grace, the mercy, the love of Allah, until they have this understanding of the iman, that's iman ainul yaqeen. So that is our journey. We cannot avoid that. Every single Muslim who profess to be a Muslim must go on that journey. Only then can we have this fulfillment of our reliance and our understanding of the glory of Allah. So just like the verse I was telling you, this verse that Rasulullah cried and cried and cried. But are we Muslims today crying when I recite this verse? We are not, because we are not thinking. We are not reflecting. There is no tafakkur, there is no tadhakkur left in us. We are thinking about, oh, when is my next, new car coming? We are thinking about, oh, when is I'm going to have my next meal, my next makan, or when I'm going to meet so and so, so and so. So our mind is mundane, being trapped in the daily life of mundaneness. That's why we are not achieving anything. That's why in the Muslim world, as Muslims ourselves, we are now downgraded, because we do not return back to this concept of reflecting and becoming an ulil albab. And to become an ulil albab means you must be reflecting and thinking. So you must be, for example, if you are a scientist in terms of biology, then you be the best biology professor in the world, doing the best research in terms of biology. You are, for example, a professor of cosmology. You study the best of cosmology and relate back to the grandeur of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are, for example, a geneticist. You study about all the grandeur of genetics, and then you reflect it back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are psychologists. You think about how you can link this truth that is manifested in the Al-Quran, in the Hadith, in the great books written by our great scholars, thousands and thousands of them. They get this knowledge not out of just pure luck. No. It is out of the divine grace of Allah. These are ilm or knowledge given to them through ilham by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the door to wahyu is closed with the last Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the information from the realm of the akal al-kulli is always there for every single Muslim to tap on. And that is a great power that we Muslims have. How does it works? This mechanism, maybe I have to explain to you in greater detail until you understand that we have unlimited capability. We have unlimited realm of understanding knowledge to the best that we can, to the highest level possible in whatever field that we endeavor to do. So I have explained to you previously that we have within ourselves, in terms of psychology, the secular psychology says that we have thought, feelings and emotion that affects our thoughts, habits and behavior. So this is the TF cycle. This is talking about only about the neocortex, limbic system, brainstem, because this is the level of materialist science, the science of psychology based on the denial of the spiritual realm, denial of God. Definitely, to them there's no such thing as the spiritual world. There's no such thing as anything beyond the physical, material things that we are actually experiencing. So that's why they always say that it is the thoughts, emotion and feelings that affects your brainstem, your limbic system and your cortex. So this is the materialist science. But in Islamic science or psychology, we have the FET. What is FET? feelings, emotion, thoughts, coming from the realm of SEMP, spiritual, emotional, mental, and this physical. So there is always this interchange. This SEMP come from where? It comes from the realm of the Creator. So Allah is showering. In my previous explanation, Allah, from the realm of Allah, the Absolute, from the realm of His Sifah, He's giving us the realm of influences in terms of His Rahmah, His Barakah, His love, His mercy, His compassion, His forgiveness, His knowledge, which goes into this Akal al-Kulli, from the Akal al-Kulli to the Akal al-Juzi. Alright, so this is where I'm trying to relate how you can then fuse modern psychology with Islamic psychology, because Islamic psychology, in terms of understanding the nature of the Ruh, the Qalb, the Akal, Jasad, was described succinctly by many of our scholars over 1,000 years ago, and the greatest of those scholars is Imam Ghazali. That's why I use the Imam Ghazali's model, which you can see in our book, Positive Islamic Psychology, a Transcendent Model to Achieve Peace, Happiness and Success. You go to Ihya Ulumuddin and his other writings, then you can understand the depth of this understanding. So, because we are being influenced by feelings from the realm of the Absolute, that's why even now, for example, they have done research, Heart Math Institute has done research, but before even our brain can have thoughts, we already have the feelings. This is very, very mystical, but that is the true knowledge. They have done many studies. Before somebody can think of, say, a certain cat or a number or what, the neurological function actually has triggered before it even is manifested in the brain. Where it's come from? It is coming from the higher realm. Okay, so feelings, emotion and thoughts in Islam is that we have these feelings of we are receiving information from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are receiving His grace. We are, for example, we are receiving the mercy and compassion of Allah. Alright, Ar-Rahman, 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 Ar-Rahim. The compassion of Allah. What is the compassion of Allah? It is a realm of nur or light that is influencing all of us, whether our spiritual, emotional, mental, physical self. And for example, if we are on reflecting, we are thinking, we are looking at the verses that I read just now, which our whole Prophet Muhammad ﷺ cried when it was revealed to us. It was influencing from the realm of the Absolute. Allah gives this understanding from the realm of Akal al-Kulli to the Akal al-Juzi. So Akal al-Juzi, what does it constitute? The Akal al-Juzi is the manifestation of what we do within the brainstem, limbic system, neocortex. Our whole brain here is linked together. Alright, so we are both existing in the realm of the physical and the realm of the spiritual, because this Akal is part of our SEM, our mind or our Akal, spiritual, emotional, mental. This mental or this mind is this whole thing. So we are moving from conscious to subconscious, and then we go to supraconscious. At the realm of Akal al-Kulli, it is the realm of the supraconscious. At the realm of the subconscious, it is the borderline. We are subconsciously doing a lot of things we are not conscious of. For example, we wake up in the morning, alright, we wake up and go to the same side of the bed. That's unconscious. Or we go into the toilet, that's unconscious. Even you don't have the lights on, you walk, you reach your toilet, that's unconscious. Or you just put in the car, drive, you don't know where you're going, but you reach your office. That's unconscious. Alright? But supraconscious is where you are linking your thoughts with the grace, the compassion, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is where you have this Taffakur. Wa tafakkaruna fi khalqis samawati wal ard, where you reflect over the heavens and the earth, at the highest level of cosmology to the lowest level of quantum self, quantum existence, quantum particles or quantum wave. Alright, so this whole range is open to us as our realm of possibility of understanding what? Not understanding just to make cars or to make aeroplane, understanding the grandeur of Allah and understanding the purpose and the meaning of our life, of who we are, why we are on this earth, why Allah put us on this earth, why He created us to reflect on Him, His grace, His mercy, His love, His sifah, why we are selected to be the Caliph of Allah on this earth, why we are told to do good, to have mercy and compassion from the grace and the mercy and compassion, why we must have knowledge. Because you can't reflect without knowledge. How can you reflect, for example, about the heavens when you do not know even the planet, you do not know even the stars, you do not know even the galaxies, you do not know even the limits of this universe. You can't. So then you must have this knowledge. That's why the early Muslims were all great scholars. All right, and inshallah in one video we can list all the great scholars of Islam, from algebra to cosmology to biology to medicine to psychology, all of them. Why? Because they live by this ayah. They have this tafakkur, they have this tazakkur, they have this inner quest for seeking knowledge, and they become the best of human beings. That's why within 400 years Islam spread throughout every corner of this world, and we are the most civilized of civilization for 400 years. But unfortunately, for the last 200 years we have lost all that. So how are we going to reclaim our birthright to be the leading ummah and humanity in the 21st century? It is a subject that we should, all of us, reflect and think about, inshallah. And inshallah there will be many other descriptions in which I want to bring how we can fuse our Islamic psychology, how fantastic it is if you can understand and follow this series of positive Islamic psychology. This is the first book, inshallah, and run to our model and have a deeper understanding and deeper knowledge. Subscribe to our channel, and inshallah we can then bring about a unified understanding of the purpose and meaning in life, of the beauty, the joy, the happiness, the fulfillment, the mercy, the grace, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we know who we are, why we are living on this world, and why we have to live this world, and why we can have a joy that is forever beyond space and time in the realm of the grace of Allah, inshallah.